You don't build a business, you build people, and people build the business around you.
Today we have Michelle Seiler Tucker from Seiler Tucker Incorporated, who are leading authorities on buying, selling, fixing, and growing businesses. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you. Thanks, Ryan. I'm happy to be here with you and the Australia gang,
Yeah,
Australia listeners. Yeah.
absolutely. Michelle, we're interested. Tell us your story. How did you get started?
So I've always been an entrepreneur. Even as a little girl, I always told my mama that I'm never going to work for anybody.
Nice.
So I've owned many different businesses and different verticals. But I did get a job, even though I told my mom I would never go to work for anyone. I actually was recruited by a Fortune 500 company called Xerox. And within 6 months, Xerox promoted me to regional vice president, overseeing about 100 sales reps.
Wow.
And I realized after being in that position a few months that I really didn't like it. And I didn't want that job. So I ended up transitioning out of Xerox. Love Xerox, nothing wrong with Xerox, but I ended up transitioning out of Xerox and started my own franchise consulting company, franchise development, and franchise sales company. And I was equity partner with different franchisors. The reason I transitioned to mergers and acquisitions is because I had so many buyers that kept asking me for an existing business. And I kept saying, no, that's not what we do. We don't have existing businesses. We specialize in franchises. And then finally I'm like, why am I saying no? I should be saying yes, yes, yes. Listen to the consumers, give them what they're asking for. And that was a little over 20 years ago. So since I've been really specializing in mergers and acquisitions. I don't just sell businesses. I also specialize in fixing businesses. I partner with business owners, investing my money, my time, my energy, my efforts, my resources. I buy businesses and flip them. I grow businesses and I sell them. So I really specialize in buying, selling, fixing, growing. And I fell in love with this industry. I've personally sold over 500 companies. My firm altogether, we've done about 1,000 transactions over the last 20 years in pretty much every vertical. And, I'm very passionate about what I do. I love entrepreneurship. I live, eat, and breathe entrepreneurship.
I love it. And so, like, what does an average day look like for you? I mean, it sounds really exciting. Do you work across multiple businesses on a daily basis? How does it work?
Yeah, there's no real such thing as average day.
There isn't, is there?
you know, we just launched my latest book, Exit Rich. I've written 3 books, and there was nothing average about that because I was doing about 5 to 6 podcasts a day. I've been on over 300 podcasts. And plus, I have my own podcast, Exit Rich. So, every day is different. Some days I'm on other people's podcasts. Like right now, I'm on your podcast. I have people guest on my podcast. I do look at deals, I do evaluations. I work on the businesses that I own because I own other businesses as well. And one day, yesterday I was negotiating an LOI on a $55 million company.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah.
That's
And
great.
then today we're working on a company that we're going to sell between 40 to 50 million, another company, electrical company.
Nice. I love it. And so, what had to change in you, Michelle? Like from the early days of kind of kicking off and finding your feet through to now, where you're working on these big deals
Mhm.
and seeing some really big stuff happening.
Mhm. Yeah, I had, I never really got a mentor until 2011. And when I got a mentor, that's kind of really what changed everything. That's when I decided to write my very first book. That's when I decided, to really get out there and market myself because I was always known as a best kept secret. Because when I sell somebody's company, they're private businesses and they don't go shout from the rooftop that Michelle Seiler Tucker sold my business. So I really was the best kept secret. So I'm like, gosh, I need to write a book to not only gain credibility and exposure, but also educate the marketplace, educate business owners, entrepreneurs that you really have to plan your exit. You really have to build a sellable asset because, like Steve Forbes says, 80% of businesses will never sell.
Mm.
So that was a big turning point for me when I did finally get a mentor, and I did start going to some different conferences and masterminds and things of that nature, and wrote my very first book. That was a big game changer.
Mm.
And then I just started looking at things differently, looking at things bigger, and I bought more businesses. I I partner with more business owners. And I always say, get comfortable with being uncomfortable because you're not growing if you're comfortable. If you're either growing or dying. There's really no in between. And if you're not growing, then you're in your comfort zone and eventually you're going to be dying. So that's what I always
Absolutely.
say, get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
That's great. And so, in terms of your mentorship and, what was it about that personal development that really kicked things into another gear?
I think, look, I always liked writing. Even as a little girl, I would write short stories and poems and lyrics to songs. But I never really thought about writing a business book on, how to sell your company.
Yeah,
And I think it just opened up my eyes to a whole new world of exposure. And, if you want to help more business owners, then you have to have more exposure. How do you get more exposure? You write a book. And
that's
it
great.
just gave me, a lot more ideas of different things I should be doing than before. Before I was just kind of stuck in my office selling companies and not really being able to educate a lot more people. And that's what I love. That's what I'm passionate about is educating business owners, educating entrepreneurs, how to fix their business, how to grow their business, how to make it sustainable, how to scale, how to actually have a sellable asset so you don't exit poor, so you do exit rich.
Mm, I love that. And so, what advice then, and could you maybe expound on something from your book? What advice would you give to a CEO or business owner who is looking to get to that next level?
So, well, number one, read Exit Rich.
Yeah.
And number two, really, really pay attention to the facts. And pay attention to the statistics. Numbers don't lie. Steve Forbes says 80% of businesses on the market will never sell. 80% of businesses on the market will never sell. Now, that's in the United States. I'm not sure about Australia, but it's probably pretty similar.
It's the same here, yeah.
And, the number one reason for that is because business owners, there's lots of reasons, but one of the biggest reasons is because business owners don't plan their exit. They don't think about it,
No.
and they don't build a sellable asset. They don't build a business that someone wants to buy. Most business owners have created a glorified job that they go to work at every day versus a business that actually works for them. And business owners, they wake up one day and are like, Michelle, I got to sell my business. I was diagnosed with cancer, or I'm getting divorced,
Wow.
or, my partnership is ending. And it's always a catastrophic event, or I'm going to kill all of my employees. And by the way, I want to say, yeah, or we're in this pandemic. So most business owners don't think about selling their company until they're in the middle of an internal or external crisis. And they'll call me up and say, I need to sell my business and I need to sell for $20 million. And maybe their business is worth $1 million. And they come up with that $20 million figure because that's what they feel like they need to retire on, or that's what they need to start the next phase of their life. And guess what? They didn't build a $20 million asset. They didn't build a $20 million company.
Mm,
So the biggest thing that I say in my book, Exit Rich, is start with the end in mind, like Stephen Covey says, and build your business on what I call the GPS exit model. The GPS exit model. When you want to drive somewhere in Australia, what do? You pull out your phone, you go to Google Maps, and what's the first thing you plug in?
yeah, the destination.
The destination.
Mm,
Bingo. What happens if you don't plug in a destination?
nothing.
Nothing. You don't go anywhere. You drive around in circles. Your wife is screaming at you. You're lost again. So, and that's what happens to business owners. They don't plan to fail. They fail to plan, and they
Right.
don't have a destination. They don't have an end game. So you can't wake up one day and say, I'm going to sell my business for $20 million if you haven't built a $20 million company. So what you need to figure out right now is, what do you want to sell your business for? Pick a number. Don't get hung up on a number because it can be adjusted along the way. So if you want to sell a business for $20 million, boom, now you got an end game. You've got a goal. You've got a destination.
That's
And that's
great.
the GPS exit model. And then the next thing in the GPS exit model is, where are you starting from? Google Maps needs to know where you're starting from. What is your current location? Well, in the GPS exit model, what is your current evaluation? What is your business worth today? And most business owners never get a business evaluation. We go to the doctor once a year to get a checkup to make sure our heart's still ticking and we're still kicking. But we don't take our most valuable possession, which is our business, our most valuable asset, and get an annual valuation checkup.
That's great
It's
advice.
imperative that you get an evaluation checkup.
Mm.
because there are events that increase valuation or events that decrease valuation. This pandemic has decreased valuation for a lot of industries. It's increased valuation for a lot of other industries. The election in the United States decreased valuations. For some other industries, it increased valuations, right? So you need to know what your business is worth every year. So let's say if you want to sell for 20 million, let's say today it's for 5 million. The next thing you need to know is time frame. What's your time frame, Ryan? When do you want to sell it? Let's say 10 years. Then you need to know, well, who's my buyers going to be? Now I say buyers, not buy. I say buyers, not buyer, because the likelihood of one buyer buying your company is slim to none. There's so much work that goes into preparing a business for sale and getting everything ready for due diligence. And the likelihood of that one buyer buying your business is probably not going to happen. So never put all of your eggs in one buyer's basket.
Mm.
Plus, how can you maximize value if you can't create a competition with a party of one? So it's imperative to know the 5 types of buyers. So you got first-time buyers. They buy small companies. Turnaround specialists buy distressed assets. Private equity groups buy based on platforms, and they won't even look at your business unless you have at least $3 million in EBITDA. They also buy based on add-ons. So if they're trying to get into food manufacturing and they already have that platform, they'll look at smaller food manufacturing businesses for less than $1 million in EBITDA. Then you have your strategic and competitors. They pay the highest multiple because they're buying synergies. And then you have sophisticated entrepreneurs. And guess what they do? They chase EBITDA. They chase cash flow. So those are your 5 types of buyers. So now, Ryan, you reverse engineer your plan and say, okay, I want to sell for $20 million. I'm worth 5 million. I'm going to do this in 10 years. These are my 3 types of buyers: pegs, competitors, strategics, and sophisticateds. What does my numbers need to look like? Where does my gross revenues, my operating expense, my COGS, most importantly, my EBITDA? If you want to sell for $20 million, you need to have your earnings. EBITDA is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. You need to have that EBITDA around $3 to $4 million, depending upon your synergies. Now you ask yourself, what do those buyers look for? What are those synergies they're willing to outbid everybody else for, and create a bidding war? And then you build your business and meet their specific criteria. It's kind of like when you go into business, Ryan, you go, here's my widget, here's my target market, right?
Yeah.
This is my widget.
Yep.
My nice, beautiful lip gloss here. This is my widget. This is my target market. I'm going to sell this to all of these sophisticated women that love lipstick that never comes off. Your business is your widget. The buyers are your target market. You build everything to meet their specific criteria. So when you're ready to sell, you've built a sellable asset. And then you build the business on what I call the 6 Ps, which is your infrastructure that we lay out in my book, Exit Rich.
Great. That sounds really good. And yeah, thank you, because there's definitely some value in that, because we can all start now in terms of how we set that up for that future sale. And even if we don't end up selling, it means that, we have the equity in our business, because it's worth a lot to someone if we did decide to, or even if we just decided to, even potentially get a loan against the business at some point in the future. So
Yeah, I
that's
mean, if you
perfect.
decide to get a loan, and not only that, but you got a business that's going to be much more profitable.
Yeah.
You got a business that's sustainable if you build it on the 6 Ps, and if you're building it to meet one of these buyer specific needs, and you have a business that you can scale. And if your kids say, I don't want your business, great, go sell it for $20 million.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Michelle, in seeing a lot of businesses grow, in growing your own business, what have you found that has been, the most challenging parts of that?
Usually the owner. I always say fish stinks from the head. And usually the owner is the bottleneck, because a lot of entrepreneurs, again, have created a job for themselves versus a business that works for them. And so many entrepreneurs are control freaks. I'm a control freak. We all control freaks. And we're like, if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. Well, that's not true. That can't be further from the truth. You can't do everything. And the biggest mistake business owners make is they work in their business, not on their business.
Mm.
You need to work on your business. In the 6 P infrastructure, one of the very first P's is people. One of the number one reasons that businesses are not sellable is because the business is 1,000% dependent upon that owner. When I take that owner out of the business, there is no business. I'll give you a perfect example. Dentist came to me, been in business 50 years, one dentist, three dental hygienists. His dental hygienists are his daughters. And I said, look, I can sell your business, but I can't maximize value because you are the business. And there's going to be language that's going to be contingent in the closing documents on you and your daughter staying. And he said, well, honey, we're not staying. And I said, well, then, honey, you're not selling.
Wow.
Because if I take the dentist out of the practice, there is no practice. Does that make sense?
It does.
So business owners got to stop working in their business. They got to work on their business, and they got to create. You don't build a business, you build people, and people build the business around you. And you got to get to where you're actually creating a company that can run without you. You got to get the right people in the right seats, and you got to ask the who question. Who answers the phone? Who opens the doors? Who handles customer service, marketing, legal, logistics, manufacturing, quality control? The list goes on and on. The clue here, Ryan, is you should never be next to the who because they're trying to run the business without you.
Yeah. And so that obviously means then systems are mission critical
That's
for someone's business.
processes. So processes is my third P.
Nice.
Processes are huge. Look, you can have all the people in the world, you have the right people, but if you don't have the right processes in place, then your people are not going to be effective. They're not going to be productive. You're going to lose you're going to have a lot of waste in your business, and you're going to have a tremendous amount of overhead.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are some really good tips that we can work on now. And I'm curious, Michelle, over the last 20 years or so, of your career, where have you had the most fun? What's been the most exciting for you?
That's a good question. It's always exciting when we sell companies. I always get excited. Regardless if it's a small company or a large company, I get excited because I love the thrill of the deal. I love the art of negotiations. So I always get excited about that. I get excited when I can partner with a business owner and save them from going out of business.
Wow.
And, there was a business that I partnered with that had called me about selling their company. And it was husband and wife and one employee. They were the business. You take them out of the business, there is no business. I invested money. I partnered with them and took them out of their garage into a 6,000 square foot building, hired employees, leased equipment, etc. And now they actually have a business, and they were on the brink of getting a divorce, and they were on the brink of losing their family home. So not only did I save their business, I saved their marriage and their home. So I get excited when I can help save, marriages, when I can help save somebody from losing their home, when I can help save somebody from losing their business, when I can help save the American economy by saving one business at a time. I get excited writing books. I get excited speaking on stage. I get excited when Exit Rich made a Wall Street Journal and USA Today's bestseller. I get excited by growing and getting comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah, I love that. That is really good. And so if you could go back 5 years, Michelle, and give yourself one piece of advice, what would that be?
Get a mentor quicker.
Yeah.
Hire a mentor quicker, not just any mentor. Really look up for a mentor who's been down the road that you want to travel and who's been highly, highly successful, because they will shorten your learning curve dramatically and your path to success dramatically. Not just any mentor. Get somebody who's highly successful in the road you want to travel, and do it quick. Do it early in your career, because I always say it's hard to read the label from the inside of the bottle. You need an outsider's perspective to read the warning signs and keep you out of the danger zone.
That is great. Yes, so important. Just go with me with this question. Lion or elephant? Which one and why?
Lion.
Why is that?
I don't know. They're prettier. Lions are fierce. Lions are fierce.
Oh, that's great. Cool. And so, Michelle, just finally, who can you best help? And if they want to get in touch, how is best for them to do that?
I can best help, any entrepreneur that's wanting to sell their business or actually build their business so they actually have a sellable asset. Somebody who feels that they're about to go out of business, I can help save your business. And somebody just really wants some strong business expert advice to help them grow. And they can reach me at seilertucker.com. That's seilertucker.com. And then I encourage everyone to pick up my book, Exit Rich.
Definitely. That's it sounds like a must read. It's a bestseller. Yeah, I'd highly recommend it. So, Michelle, thank you so much for coming on our podcast today. We really appreciate it, and thank you for the value.
Thank you. Can I tell everybody where they can get Exit Rich?
Please do.
Okay, so if you're in Australia or anywhere outside the United States, go to Amazon because that's the best way for shipping cost. If you're in the United States, I encourage you to go to exitrichbook.com because exitrichbook.com is where we have all the extra golden nuggets and all the extra bonuses. So for $24.79 plus shipping in the United States, we'll ship the hardcover to your doorstep. We'll email you the digital version. We will also make sure that you have a lifetime membership into the Exit Rich Book Club where there's video content. And there's a tremendous amount of documents to operate your business, documents to sell your business, sample employee handbooks, sample policy and procedure manuals. We have sample letter of intent, purchase agreements, due diligence checklists, closing documents, everything you need to operate and sell your business. And if you went to recreate these documents, it would probably cost you over $50,000 to do so. I know because I've spent the money. And then we'll also give a 30-day free membership into Club CEOs, which is an entrepreneurship mastermind where we help business owners really transform their business into a sustainable, scalable, and sellable business when they're ready so they too can exit rich. All of this is at exitrichbook.com. If you buy Exit Rich on Amazon or any of your favorite bookstores, just email us the receipt to marketing@Seiler Tucker, and we will make sure you still get the bonuses.
Perfect. That's a lot of additional value. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Great. Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to watching kind of what happens next and seeing your book hit some great new levels of success.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Michelle. Speak to you soon.
Thank you, Ryan. Thanks for having me on.